Cheering.
Y'all can cheer if you want. All right. Hey, first and foremost, I want to thank our fans who came out, braved the elements to have a showing like that on opening day with the heat and humidity and whatnot. It was a great environment for our guys, and you can see why it's one of the best in all of college football, if not the best. As I mentioned, the team inside, I want to give credit to our training staff, our strength and conditioning staff, and our sports nutrition department. All week we talked about hydration and nutrition, and what we needed to do to come out in this type of environment for the guys to flourish and not get dehydrated and not get worn out. And I think they did a really, really good job with that. In terms of the game, I think we didn't flinch in the face of adversity. There were a lot of opportunities here where a guy went down on offense, a guy went down on defense, or maybe a play didn't go the way we wanted it to. But I think that's indicative of this team. And I said all along, we have great leadership, we have great chemistry, and we're taking it 12 one-week seasons, and we got to be like our mascot. We got to be a dang bulldog. We got to bow our neck, bow our back, and just find a way to win every single week. And had a true freshman quarterback, play a majority of the game. True freshman tailback score a touchdown, and a true freshman corner intercept the ball. Offensively looking to strike balance. I don't think they had given up 30 points in the game over the last 12 games. Still think they've given up a 100-yard rusher in 15. And we were able to do both of those things, and to credit to Coach Hobson and Coach Billings and their staff. That's a good football team that's going to win a lot of games. So I was pleased with our balance and our productivity on offense. Left some things on the field, but I think as we continue to progress, we'll be able to clean those up. Defensively, continue to create turnovers. I think we took a positive step from last week in terms of our tackling and our assignments. Obviously, there'll be a few things to clean up there, but was pleased with our progress and a bunch of guys playing at different spots. And then special teams outside of the one missed field goal, I thought Scott kicked the ball better. I thought we covered better. I think Tucker's continuing to improve like we had anticipated coming off of last season. And it was a great team win. And happy to be 1-0 this week. Questions?
Get a mic to you. We'll start in the front right here.
Joe, any update on Tommy?
Upper body, obviously. He's going to get looked at by the medical staff now, and then we'll get a more thorough update tomorrow when they come in for medical checking.
If he can't go, is Schrader the quarterback for Saturday, or?
I can't answer that right now. Hopefully we'll see if Tommy's all right, and then we'll go in and grade a film from tomorrow and kind of talk about personnel, which we do on Sundays. Wish I had an answer right now, but I don't.
Joel and Paul in the middle.
You had several guys other than Tommy get banged up today. Any other injury updates? With I think Cam got banged up a little bit and things.
Cam Dancer?
Yes.
He had a little lower body deal. I think he was fine. He could have gone back in, but Thomas and his staff are looking at all the guys now. We'll meet tomorrow at 3 o'clock and go over the injury report after the kids report for treatment. So status as of right now is up in the air. We'll know a little bit better tomorrow.
Paul.
Just your thoughts on Schrader and how he handled himself in that kind of situation, and not only him, but you had some other true freshmen that made some plays in the second half for him.
Yeah, that's one thing. Been recruiting Garrett for a long, long time now. And his decision to come to Mississippi State and enroll as a mid-year, and I think that's one of the benefits for a quarterback who can come and get that extra semester in preparation. That since I've known him, he's a guy that this situation is never too big for him. So when Tommy was down and we said you're in, he didn't have those, big deer in the headlight eyes. He just went in there and was like, all right, let's call it. We got into halftime. We talked about a couple plays maybe he necessarily wasn't comfortable with because he didn't get a ton of reps during the week. But, for a true freshman to come in and operate the way he did, I believe it was 7 for 11, ran the ball pretty well. I was happy with how I was able to just step in there.
We'll go to Steve in the front and then Logan.
Coach, you came out early and throwing the ball with some great success there. What did you see that made you feel like you guys could go over the top against them?
I think Tommy started off either 9 to 10 or 10 or 11. He had a real nice streak going there, but I don't know necessarily it was what we were seeing, but what we game planned for. And as I was, kind of preaching last year, and what we wanted to see heading into the season, we want to be a team that's balanced and can run and pass with equal effectiveness, and I think hopefully the last 2 games you've seen a kind of a snapshot of what we want to be. And if a team's taking a run away, we're able to throw it. If it's taking the throw away, we're able to run it. And, we had it rolling pretty good there. So And I think we're just, calling plays that we had game plan, and the kids went out and executed them. They did a great job.
Logan?
How early in the week was James Jackson moved back over to offense? How do you think he did it there?
I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, I usually don't see the guys that are in with the O-line, and Marcus does a great job rotating them, so I'll have to see from the film, but, I don't think there was anything egregious that jumped out. So for not practicing center since spring ball and going in the game and being able to function, I think that's a credit to James and his selflessness and being a team guy, and also Marcus's ability to get him ready in a short amount of time.
We'll go back to the cameras, then to Rick.
The way Kylan was running the ball today, how much easier does that give confidence to Schrager when he's in there for the first time?
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to have a true freshman in there and start, chucking, ducking, throwing the ball all around the yard. But to have a guy like Kylan, and Nick ran the ball well, and Lee as well, that you're going to have to, as you're kind of weaning a new guy in there and getting him, accustomed to the speed of the game and his first experience, when you can lean back on a strong run game like we have. I think Kylan went for 125 today, and he's one of the best backs in the conference and the best backs in the country. To have that luxury for a quarterback, it's it is good for any quarterback, particularly a young one.
Back middle to Rick.
Yeah, Joe, well, this is a two-part question. One, obviously Kylan wasn't hurt as bad as it first looked.
Yep.
Was it his ankle that he tweaked?
It was foot, ankle, lower body. I mean, I didn't kind of get into it with it.
Yeah. Other thing, are there any backs you coached or seen you compared to?
That was tough. So, someone asked that the other day, just in terms of style and things like that. And I don't know if it's necessarily fair to compare him to the last guy I coached, but I mean, Kylan has that kind of ability. But the thing that I can say about him is he's got small back skill and a big back body. You don't usually see a guy that's built like him that can make people miss in space and hurdle people and catch the ball and do some of those things in the open field that a 200-plus pound guy really shouldn't do. But also he showed last week and this week that he can, when it's blocked up for 1 or 2 or 3, he can turn that into 4 or 5. So and he's worked on his hands, he's worked on his pass protection. I can't say enough about his development, his maturity, his approach to the game. Probably studied. Terry's done a great job with him. Understanding that he does have some deficiencies coming out last year that he needed to work on, and he addressed them. And I think what you're seeing now is that I talk about him being a breakout player this season. I think he's reaping the rewards of his hard work in the offseason.
We'll go to the front of the Ben.
Coach, two real quick. One, was Keaton able to go today?
Yes.
He was? Okay.
Yeah.
And then secondly, Brian Cole led all tacklers, had a couple of really nice plays. At least at the beginning, was kind of flying around in the first half. What did you see from him?
Yeah, I thought it was, today's performance was more indicative, and Coach Shoup uses this term all the time, of our style of play, where, and like I said, Bob's one of the top defense coordinators in the country, so I knew, we'd have a good plan in place and adjustments to some of the stuff we saw last week, formation in the sideline, jet motion, and all those things. But what it came down to, what we were looking to improve, obviously, our tackling in the open field, which I think we did a better job of, but identification and communication, and getting to the ball, getting ready, being aligned, and I think, when you know what you're doing, you can play with physicality and confidence, and I think with Brian, he's a guy that makes a ton of plays. We'll have great success this year and at the next level, but I think his play was representative of the progress we made as a defensive unit today.
Also, Nick gets that 13-yard run right after Kylan goes down. What do you see from Nick? Kind of seemed like part of the Red Seas a little bit, but what do you see from him on that play?
We, Nick's a great team guy. He does awesome in third down pass protection. He's a guy that we kind of use for some of that role, but senior, played a lot of football, and they're a good complement to each other.
Go to Tyler, then David.
Joe, last week you said defensively it was kind of
How do you
bend.
feel?
A lot better, appreciate it. You said it was sort of bend but don't break in the first half. Today especially it was sort of like that again, kind of throughout the game too. Is it at a point where you kind of preach that as an ideology and that's something you want your players to kind of have in their minds, that we can bend but we're not going to break?
Yeah, I think part of that is understanding that we're a different defense this year, and we said last year about Jeffrey and Montez and the rest of the guys that and we talk about explosive play margin, turnover margin, third down and red zone, kind of the compete areas in situational football. And, you know, you'd obviously like every drive to be 3 and out, and they punt it and you get it back. But at a certain point, if you know, they're moving and you can hold them to 3 or 0 in the red zone in this kind of day and age of offensive football, and you can keep them off the scoreboard, whether it's 3 plays or whether it's 7. You know, some ways in defensive football, that's a victory. And I think we haven't allowed 30. We have the longest streak in the country of not allowing 30 points in a game. So at the end of the day, I'm not as concerned about the yards as I am points per game allowed and points per game produced. So to me, that is the best barometer of how a defense is playing, scoring defense.
David?
Kind of a two-parter. You mentioned the conditioning and how well the team was ready. You didn't hesitate to go tempo with the offense in the first half and really push the pace, even in the conditions in the second part. But once Garrett came in, did you intentionally slow the play tempo down, use more play clock?
I think in the second half, not necessarily in the first half. You know, we were up a few scores and you know, had some different combinations on the O-line. You know, so you know, Nick was out, so we had Lee in there. And I mean, you forget it. I shouldn't say forget it. You know, you had a true freshman quarterback finish the game. You had a true freshman corner intercept the pass, and you had a true freshman run back score touchdown. Did I say that right? I did. All right. Then I said it again. But I guess when you have that many young guys in there, it maybe for them to see the picture better than you know, just firing off plays at a breakneck speed, I think it helps them kind of get themselves settled in.
Danny?
Coach, over here. Yeah. Right here.
Nope.
Just talk about that. Tommy started off the game really good. I mean, I think him and Garrett combined 16 for 21 percentage-wise.
Yeah.
First time ever on the home field for those two guys. They really seemed comfortable. Just talk about their character and their ability to be able to come out there and do that.
You know, we want a quarterback who's able to beat you with his brains, his arms, and his legs, and both of those guys can do that. And, you know, I won't say disappointed for Tommy, but you know, he put so much effort and preparation, and for him to be able to play the way he's been the first 2 games, I would love to see him finish that game off, because I think he was going to have a real big day. But you know, he got banged up, came out and started supporting his teammates. But you know, hopefully we get him back soon. But I think what we saw from him in the first 2 games is what we kind of anticipated in bringing him here, and how he was able to perform, and you know, talking about the accuracy and be able to generate efficiency and explosiveness in the pass game. You know, we certainly did that early on.
Go to the back, and then we'll go to Paul. What was the conversation with Garrett like going in, knowing that he'd go in such short notice? And have you talked to him about the potential of having to do this going forward?
Yeah, he took all the 2 reps this week. I told him don't screw it up. Got a chuckle out of it. But, you know, it's like I said at the beginning, he's not a guy, I don't say unflappable, but confidence is one thing that Garrett Sheridan does not lack. So when we told him Tommy was down and he had to go in, it was, all right, let's do it. And there wasn't, hey, settle down, hey, let's do this, hey, let's do that. So they got going and run the offense is what we recruited you for.
Paul, in the middle.
Coach, you said you wanted to get more freshmen and guys in the rotation. You did that with Pickering, but you also had some big plays by Martin Emerson and Lee Witherspoon late. Just, you know, your thoughts on those guys getting those kind of reps and being productive?
No, I think between Jarion, Martin, I think Purvis covered some kicks today. DeMonte Russell was in there. Pickering was in there. You know, Javante, technically first-year player. LaQuincy Sharp, technically first-year player. And obviously Lee and Garrett. I like the way we recruited the past few years. And, you know, when those guys are given an opportunity to go in, they produce. So, you know, it's good we're able to have a good mix and blend of experience and talent, and needing to get those guys reps. And then you even talk about true freshmen. I mean, Fabian Lovett, you know, Jaden Crumney. I mean, all those redshirt freshmen have never played either. And you know, once again, it'll as we continue to improve every week, I think it'll help this year, and you know, down the road for the long term as well, getting those young guys playing time.
Logan, coach is right.
Garrett's helmet popped off a couple of times. You call timeout once. Logan goes in the next time. Was that just a conscious decision to try to maintain Keaton's red shirt if possible?
That was not kind of part of the discussion, but we've had those talks with KT. But you know, Garrett needs to shave that beard. I think that's why the helmet's dang popping off. But no, I mean, we were going to put it in there and you know, and hand the ball. We knew we were going to hand the ball off. So but yeah, we just got to make sure his beard's trimmed and his chin straps buckled a little tighter.
Being in the front.
Could you touch on it some a little bit with the younger guys in the interior? But it seemed like you guys got a lot more pressure, at least up front on pass rush this week. What did you see from them? How much of that was just game planning, and was it just getting another game under guys' belts?
I like what we did on the edges, with Kobe, Chauncey, Marquise, and Fletcher. Those are kind of the veteran guys who have played a lot more football for us. But if I'm not mistaken, I think we rolled, at least 5, maybe 6 guys through there. I think Cam Young played for the first time today. Pitt, and that's, once again, when you graduate, your 2 starters on the inside, and then the 3 primary backups behind them. There weren't many other reps to go around last year, so those guys need every snap of practice and every rep in the game that they could get. They'll keep getting better and better.
Tyler?
Back to Kylan for a minute. When you see him jumping over guys, I mean, that's 2 games. It's 2 times he's done it now. What's going through your mind when you see him make a play like that?
He's been watching a lot of Saquon tape, I think. No, I mean, I'd rather have him hurdle someone than get his lower body taken out. But yeah, I mean, the guy, like I said, he does things that a big guy should be able to do at that size. So he's done it pretty well. So keep it up.
You didn't mention Saquon earlier, but you sort of referenced him, and now you just mentioned Saquon.
Yeah.
With all the things that Kylan can do, I mean, he can run over guys, run by them, and even jump over them. I mean, if he stays healthy, do you think he's in for one of the bigger seasons for running backs that you've coached?
I think the sky's the limit for Colin. I think if he continues to stay healthy and prepare the way he has mentally and physically, that he's going to have a huge season. But you look at Saquon's 2 years in 16 and 17. Before that, at Fordham, Chase Edmonds was I think had over 1,500 yards 3 years in a row and is playing for the Cardinals now. And back at UConn, Jordan Tobin, I think he led the Big East, and Andre Dixon. So certainly tailback has been a position in this system that has always produced a lot. And Collins, I won't put the cart before the horse, but if he keeps doing the things he's doing, his production will be in line with the other guys who have played this offense in the past.
All right, thank you. We have plenty.